I'm Muhammed Hamdan and Nightline begins now. News making the headlines. MACC recommends individuals linked to alleged LCS misappropriation be charged. And 90% eligible Malaysians missing out on Perker B40 free health check. Good morning. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC has completed a number of investigation papers against individuals connected to claims of irregularities in the handling of the Littoral Combat Ship LCS construction project. The Anti-Graft Agency, in a statement, said the investigation papers had been submitted to the Attorney General's chambers with a recommendation from the MACC to consider charges against several individuals. The statement added that the MACC will await further instructions following the AGC's review of the investigation papers. Last Thursday, the Public Accounts Committee disclosed that it had held 9 proceedings regarding the LCS issue from November 18, 2020, with the last one on March 8 this year, during which several witnesses were called. The results of the proceedings found that the LCS project contract was awarded to Baustat Naval Shipyard Sdn Bhd through direct negotiation, with the government paying 6 billion ringgit, although not even one LCS ship was delivered. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah has called on graduates to always remember and appreciate the country's independence history. The king said it was important for graduates to value the country's history, as it could help instill love for the nation and appreciate the prosperity enjoyed by the country today.
Beta ingin berpesan kepada semua graduan untuk sentiasa mengingati dan menghayati sejarah kemerdekaan negara. Penghayatan sejarah adalah penting untuk membangkitkan kesedaran dan kecintaan kepada negara serta untuk menghargai nikmat kemakmuran yang dikecapi sekarang. Kerana itu, para cendekiawan dunia menyatakan bahawa identiti nasional sesuatu bangsa dan negara adalah ditentukan oleh batasan waktu yang berkait rapat dengan sejarah.
Al-Sultan Abdullah, who is also the University Kuala Lumpur UniKL's Chancellor, said this in his royal address at the institution's 17th and 18th convocation ceremony in the federal capital on Thursday. Also in attendance was Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandaria. The king praised UniKL for being the pioneer in various new technologies such as sustainable energy, electric vehicles, big data, Internet of Things and aerospace. As such, he wanted UniKL to continue to explore new fields of knowledge for community capacity building and to put the country at par with other developed countries. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob has called for Malaysia and Japan to venture into new areas of cooperation relating to environmental, social and governance initiatives through programs under the Look East policy. These include diversifying cooperation in the field of disaster crisis, ageing society, digital economy, science, technology and innovation, as well as green growth. The Prime Minister said the implementation of the Look East policy should also focus on the balanced flow of benefits to Malaysia and Japan, including through Malaysia's ability to increase cooperation in the development of the halal industry with Japan. He said this in his speech at the opening of the business seminar to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the Look East policy, delivered by Senior International Trade and Industry Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Azmin Ali on Thursday. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri also expressed his appreciation to the Japanese government as well as the Malaysian-Japanese business community for contributing to the economic recovery, especially in the first quarter of this year. The Prime Minister said the Look East policy had contributed a lot to human capital development, sharing of expertise and technology transfer, especially in the manufacturing and industrial sector in Malaysia. Moving on, Khairi Jamaluddin has revealed that only 600,000 of the 6 million Malaysians who qualified for free screenings under the healthcare scheme of the B40 group, or PERCA B40, in the last 3 years had used the service. The health minister said the uptake had been low, even when his ministry engaged private practitioners for community outreach programs in his constituency, which only managed 200 screenings from the 500 targeted.
I think part of it has to do with cultural norms in the country, where for many people in Malaysia, it's still something that is not, they feel is not necessary. They feel that they seem healthy, they look healthy, and therefore they must be healthy. And perhaps there is a fear of finding out that they are suffering from something.
He added that a key challenge for the scheme was to alter this view and to help Malaysians understand that the objective of the screening was to forearm them for better health outcomes and not to burden them with ill news. The minister said this at the launch of a cancer awareness program in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday. The PERCA B40 program is a government initiative under the Health Ministry in which recipients of Bantuan Prihatin Rakyat and their registered spouses aged 40 years old and above may obtain free health screenings for non-communicable diseases. The program is administered through Protect Health Corporation Sdn Bhd, a not-for-profit wholly owned subsidiary of Protect Health Malaysia that was established under the Health Ministry. In a bid to prevent the government from adopting ad hoc measures and flip-flop policies, the Veterinary Services Department and Department of Statistics Malaysia, or DOSM, have been ordered to produce data. And for a start, related to chicken supply. The government said on Thursday that without clear data, the issue of food safety cannot be managed comprehensively. Hence, according to Special Task Force on Jihad Against Inflation Chairman Tan Sri Anwar Musa, the recent policies on import and export of whole chicken and cooking oil prices will be deferred.
Kita lalui suatu episod di mana berlaku satu keadaan di mana harga tinggi dan rendah itu menjadi sangat tidak konsisten. Kita telah dibentangkan perangkaan-perangkaan tadi yang menunjukkan range di antara kekurangan bekalan dengan lebihan bekalan berlaku dalam masa yang terlalu pendek. Bermaknanya tidak ada satu bentuk kawalan kepada pengeluaran dengan membandingkan soal demand dan juga supply. Dan kita tahu harga sangat bergantung kepada faktor penawaran dan juga permintaan. Belajar daripada pengalaman yang telah dilalui itu, buat masa ini kita menangguhkan semua perubahan dasar yang telah ditetapkan.
Tan Sri Anwar spoke to the media after chairing the 10th series of the Special Task Force on Jihad Against Inflation meeting on Thursday. He said the Veterinary Services Department was given a week to propose a pattern of data management on chicken production and chicken import, besides having the latest data on import permit records to track the total amount of chicken imports. The Statistics Department, meanwhile, would need to prepare a monthly chicken production cost index, where the figure will be used as a benchmark to determine fair pricing at the retail and sales levels. Meanwhile, the Federation of Malaysian Consumer Associations, FOMCA, said there must be coordination between all agencies and ministries in collecting data related to food supplies. Its Chief Executive Officer, Saravanan Tambiraja, said this is needed before the government can impose any new policies in order to ensure that food safety control is managed in an orderly manner.
The data is with a lot of agencies. So to collect and to comprehend all these data will take time. Of course, this is only their third or fourth meetings, and we can't expect them to come out with a very good data or statistics immediately, because we must understand agriculture falls on MAFI, Ministry of Agriculture, And then we have on poultry and everything. This falls under different ministry, different stakeholders are down there. So to make sure all this data to be managed properly, that itself needs another policy, you see. So that's why again they are in the right track. It's just that they need to look into all this data and comprehend the data so that all this will be used to plan for our food security in the future.
The absence of the home ownership campaign this year, will it affect the outlook of the local property market? Variation of price in work contracts, can it sustain the business for the long term? Labour shortage in the construction sector, how to accelerate work on site? Money Matters with Saim Babi Property Berhad this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3. Now, Malaysia has recorded over 20,000 cybercrime cases last year, with losses amounting to 560 million ringgit. According to Home Ministry's Deputy Secretary-General of Security, Dato' Abdul Halim Abdul Rahman, the cases recorded included cyberbullying, falsification, hacking, phishing and email scams, which were increasing each year.
Pada tahun 2021, bilangan kes jenayah cyber telah meningkat kepada lebih 20,000 kes dengan jumlah kerugian sebanyak 560 juta ringgit berbanding 13,000 kes dengan kerugian berjumlah 539 juta yang direkodkan pada tahun 2019.
He said this when officiating at the National Level Key Target Seminar 2022 in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah on Thursday, representing Home Minister Dato' Sri Hamzah Zainuddin. Dato' Abdul Halim added by 2025, the digital economy is expected to contribute about 22.6% to the country's gross domestic product (GDP). Therefore, in Malaysia's effort to develop itself into a nation that is driven by digital economy, he said there is a need to identify the threats with the potential to affect the key targets and the economic sector in general. Moving on, the government has no plans to peg the ringgit to the US dollar, as such move is fraught with high risks and is a large trade-off. Finance Minister Dato' Sri Tengku Zafrul Abdulaziz said a peg would not be the best move for the economy, as it would require Malaysia to follow the monetary policy of the country to which the ringgit is pegged to.
Ringgit ini kita perlu menilainya dari segi ekonomi, fundamental dengan fundamental of our economy. Pada kadar pertumbuhan yang begitu tinggi 5%, kalau kita lihat KDNK kita adalah pada tahap yang telah lebih daripada KDNK sebelum ini.
Speaking in the Dewan Negara, the minister said the strength of a currency depends on strong economic fundamentals. And Malaysia has solid fundamentals supported by strong demand domestically and overseas, as well as rising commodity prices. Hence, the government through Bank Negara will ensure that financial markets are stable and efficient, and proactive measures will be taken to ensure sufficient liquidity and resilience in order to prevent destabilization in the ringgit's value. The next of kin of former Harian Metro Assistant News Editor Muhammad Firdaus Ibrahim, who passed away last week, will continue to receive support and assistance from Media Prima Berhad. Harian Metro Group Editor Hussein Jahid said the company aims to ensure that Muhammad Firdaus's family continues to be supported through various means, including financial aid. In addition, Muhammad Firdaus's widow will be assisted in finding a suitable job, as well as to ensure that the children of the deceased will receive proper education. Earlier, Hussein accompanied Media Prima Group Chairman Datuk Seri Dr. Said Hussein Al-Junid, who paid a visit to the family of the late Muhammad Firdaus in Kampung Bagan, Mukin Jeram in Jitra, Kedah. Also present were Media Prima Group Human Resources General Manager Nur Azlin Rizwan and Harian Metro Executive Editor of Content Muhammad Safa Ahmad. 37-year-old Muhammad Firdaus passed away on August 3rd after fighting malaria infection. He had contracted the illness after returning from an assignment in Burkina Faso and died 6 days after being admitted to the intensive care unit. Coming up next, man wins 22-year court battle against railways over 25 cents. Stay with us. Welcome back. To the foreign front, a 4-day extreme heat warning came into force in parts of England and Wales on Thursday, with temperatures poised to top 35 Celsius in another heat wave that could cause wildfires and pressure water supplies and transport services. The Met Office said its amber warning, its second most severe after red, will last until the end of Sunday and cautioned that people vulnerable to extreme heat could face adverse health effects. Temperatures are expected to peak at 35 Celsius on Friday and may hit 36 Celsius in some places on Saturday. The brigade, in the meantime, said it had tackled 340 grass, rubbish and open land fires in the first week of August, compared with just 42 in the same week last year. The Met Office also raised its forecast for fire severity in London and other parts of England over the next few days to exceptional or level 5, its highest. The warning follows the driest July for England since 1935, when temperatures rose above 40 Celsius for the first time, turning a renewed spotlight to the impacts of climate change. North Korea's Kim Jong-un has declared victory in the battle against COVID-19 on Thursday, with the leader's sister Kim Yo-jong revealing he had suffered from fever and vowing deadly retaliation against South Korea, which it blames for causing the outbreak.
만약 적들이 우리 공화국에 비루스가 유입될 수 있는 위험한 짓거리를 계속 행하는 경우 우리는 비루스는 물론 남조선 당국 것들도 박멸해 버리는 것으로 대답할 것입니다.
Speaking at the Pyongyang meeting, Kim Yo-jong has blamed the outbreak on anti-Pyongyang leaflets flown across the border by activists from South Korea, saying they were a crime against humanity. She said it is very worrisome that South Korea is sending leaflets, money, sloppy brochures and items into their region, claiming that many countries have acknowledged the danger of spreading an infectious disease through contacting contaminated objects. South Korea's Unification Ministry, in the meantime, expressed regret at Kim Yong-jo's threatening remarks, as well as Pyongyang's repetition of groundless claims on the cause of the outbreak there. After a 22-year legal battle, a court in India has awarded railway passenger Tungnath Chaturvedi about $188 in compensation after he was charged about 25 cents extra for 2 tickets that he bought for North East Railway service from Mathura to Moradabad in 1999. The tickets cost 35 rupees or 45 cents each, but when he gave 100 rupees or $1.20, the clerk returned only 10 rupees or 13 cents. He told the clerk he overcharged him, but Chaturvedi did not receive a refund at the time. and decided to file a lawsuit against the North East Railway as well as the booking clerk in a consumer court in Mathura. After the long struggle, the verdict ordered the railway to pay him a fine of $188. The court also ordered the railways to reimburse him the 20 rupees at 12% interest per year from 1999 to 2022. And if the amount was not paid within the stipulated 30-day period, the interest rate would be adjusted by 15%. Tennis, the Montreal Masters, Nick Kyrgios produced a superb comeback to beat world number 1 Daniil Medvedev and book his place in the third round. Medvedev had a better start as he took the first set 7-6. The world number 1, however, lost his focus, giving Kyrgios ample opportunities to claw his way back into the game. The world number 37 Australian claimed the next two sets 6-4, 6-2. to set a last 16 clash with compatriot Alex de Minaur. Joining him was Felix Auger-Aliassime. The local favourite beat Yoshihito Nishioka of Japan 7-6, 6-4, making another move forward in the ATP Premier event on home soil. Auger-Aliassime will face Cameron Norrie of UK in the next round. Also in the next round was Jack Draper. The Brit recorded an upset as he outplayed Stefano Tsitsipas 7-5, 7-6 in 2 hours and 2 minutes. Draper will next face Gael Monfils of France. Earlier, Dan Evans advanced to the round of 16 after defeating 5th-seeded Andrei Rublev in straight sets. Evans played solid tennis and beat the Russian player 6-4, 6-4 after 1 hour and 31 minutes battle on court. The American will face his countryman Taylor Fritz in the next round. Still on tennis, the 2022 Canadian Open, former world number 1 Serena Williams exited the tournament after she suffered a straight set defeat to Belinda Bencic in the second round. Stepping out into the stadium for her first match since telling the world she's ready to leave professional tennis, Serena failed to live up the crowd's expectation as she bowed out with a 2-6, 4-6 defeat to Bencic. The loss came a day after she announced the countdown has begun on her playing career, saying she wants to have another child and pursue business interests. She did not state precisely what her last event will be, but did make it sound as if her final farewell will come at the US Open, which begins August 29th in New York. Accompanying Bencic in the last 16 was Beatriz Haddad Maia. The 13th-seeded Brazilian eliminated local favourite Leila Fernandez 7-6, 6-1 to set a meeting with world number 1 Iga Świątek. Świątek was through to the last 16 after crushing Ala Tomjanovic. After surging into a 5-love lead, the world number 1 eased to a 6-1, 6-2 victory over the Australian. Up next, syndicate recycling old drugs, crippled. These and more after this short break. Thanks for staying with us. In Johor, police have crippled a drug trafficking syndicate recycling old drugs with the arrest of a foreigner and a local, along with a woman aged between 32 and 49. According to State Police Chief Datuk Kamarul Zaman Mamat, the suspects were arrested in 3 separate raids in Johor Bahru, Iskandar Putri and Pekan Nanas Pontian. It was reported that almost 16 kilograms of drugs worth about 1.2 million ringgit were seized. Police also confiscated 6 cars, various jewellery, several bottles of detergent and cash amounting to nearly 110,000 ringgit. Datuk Kamarul Zaman said 2 suspects who are being remanded for a week tested positive for drugs and had past records related to drugs and crimes. The foreign suspect was also being investigated for possessing suspected fake passports and identity cards. The Clanton Customs Department has detained a lorry driver and seized 1,450 kilograms of ketum leaves in an operation in Kota Baru on Wednesday. Department Director Muhammad Nasir Duraman said the 40-year-old lorry driver was nabbed at the Ketirih traffic light at about 4 a.m.
Hasil dari maklumat yang diterima dan intipan yang kita lakukan, pasukan operasi telah berjaya merampas 145 bungkusan plastik yang mengandungi daun ketum dengan beranggaran sebanyak 1,450 kilogram.
It was reported that the total seizure amounted to 14,500 ringgit. Muhammad Nasir said initial investigations revealed that the ketum leaves were brought to Clanton from Kedah. He said authorities suspect the ketum leaves are for local distribution, adding that the lorry driver, a Malaysian, was being held for further action. Besides that, Muhammad Nasir said the department has seized a total of 5.8 tons of ketum leaves worth about 60,000 ringgit in a series of operations since early this year, which has seen a drastic increase compared to 343 kilograms of ketum leaves that were seized last year. He attributed the increase to the high demand for the leaves from buyers not only from Clanton but also from a neighbouring country. The Versailles Palace in France, which was closed during the pandemic, has returned to a tourist attendance comparable to that of 2019. This summer marks the return of foreign and local visitors, especially Americans, who represent 18% of visits, followed by Italians and Germans at 6% each, as well as the French public, which takes up a total of 26%. Let's take a look at the return to the Sun King's castle as we wrap up Nightline this time around. With that, I'm Muhammed, Ahmad, Hamdan. Thank you for tuning in and take care.